I'm Dr. Sebi, born in Honduras, Central America. I don't know what else to say.
Well, what do you do?
What do I do? My position today is one of servant and addressing disease and nutrition from a natural perspective.
I would really like to ask you, what famous people have you cured?
Well, we have Mr. Michael Jackson.
What was his problem besides?
Well, everything with his nervous system. Just name it, he had it. I had Mr. Steven Seagal, which had a headache for many years, and the llamas didn't cure it.
The llamas from where?
Tibet.
Oh, he was in Tibet?
Kathmandu, he's a llama. So I cured his headache, and the llamas didn't.
Where did he get the headache from?
From inside of his head. He had a lot of inflammation in his head.
So how did you cure his headache?
I gave him a composition of iron and phosphorus, and his headache was gone in less than 5 minutes. The other one that I treated was Mr. Eddie Murphy family and his mother. Well, you know, these are things that you don't, patient, doctor, confidential.
Okay.
You cannot say that, but I treated Eddie Murphy mother. I treated Mr. Cecily Tyson brother. He had his disease, and well, I treated many. In my conversation with Lisa Lopez one night in the village, she said to me, "You know what I found out in my 42 days fast? That we really don't know anything." I said, "You're right, Lisa. We don't know anything. And what all these books are for?" I said, "I don't know. I don't read them. I don't read any books. I don't read nobody's book. I don't care whose book is this." I said, "But then it's only left one thing. We should only offer compassion to each other." She received great benefits from the treatment. And she told me to mention it, which I had not mentioned it ever. I think I'm going to say it now. Lisa came with all of the little maladies, superficial, you know, maybe some alcoholism, little light too, not much. And she was kind of nervous, and her eyes were blinking really fast.
Yes.
And that stopped, everything stopped. And one day we were in a conversation, and she said, "You know, Dr. Sebi, when I came to you, I had herpes, and I didn't tell you, and it's all gone." I said, "Thank you. Thank you very much." Because it showed the value of the intracellular chelation. You don't have to tell me what you have. It's going to be relief of your body. It will be, because you're going to search out. It goes into the bloodstream and goes to every part of you and remove what you didn't tell me you had. So I'm satisfied with the process. Lisa Lopez, Teddy Pendergrass, he was moving everything that was never supposed to move.
Yeah.
But he, like Cecily Tyson, they both didn't pay me.
Wow.
So that was okay. And Michael Jackson didn't pay me either.
Wow.
And that was okay. I could understand.
So well, he's nuts.
I could understand.
Oh, how long ago did you cure the first?
1984.
Okay.
1984. These documents, what they show is that we cure AIDS from a positive to a negative HIV level. Here is one. This is from the Italian hospital. HIV positive, Hospital Vicente di Antoni. He is positive. In the next page, from the same hospital, the same young man, Oswald Zavala, he is negative. The Attorney General, Mr. Robert Abraham, went on the air and said that he would have put me not in jail. He would have put me under the jail. I was looking at him saying that right here in New York on television. I watched him say that. But I knew that this white man didn't know that there was one black man stashed away someplace that has never been to school and doesn't read books. And that black man, by not going to school, is coming with a different premise, a different foundation. He was totally unaware I knew that. I knew he was helpless. So when he said that he's going to put me under the jail, I said, he's in for a big surprise. When I went to court on the Thursday, the judge said that I will have to bring one of every patient. AIDS, blindness, diabetes, lupus, herpes, sickle cell, impotence, paralysis, and others. 9. I didn't take 9 to the Supreme Court. I took 77 people with accredited medical documents, diagnostic sheets, and the judge go like this: I only want 9. Well, needless to say, with that kind of presentation and giving and exhibiting this, the jurors came back and said, practicing medicine without a license, not guilty, because he doesn't sell medicine. The Lancaster laboratories identify our product as being natural, vegetation, cell food. Not guilty for claiming that he cures AIDS, because he does, and he has proven it. One of the things that we found in the treatment of AIDS is this. 2 things we have to do simultaneously. One of them is to remove the cause of the presence of the mucus, which there is something in the intestines that need to be removed. Simultaneously, we have to nourish the body back to health, which requires 2 substances. It's a compound of calcium and the other is iron. But when we talk about iron, we have to be very careful.
Why?
Because there are 2 forms of iron. One that is ferrous sulfate. That iron will cause you to bind and prevent you from using the toilet.
More iron is a good one.
But the other iron is a vegetable iron, one that is obtained from plants, such as the sarsaparilla, the burdock, the yellow dock, such as the one that we get from Honduras, the guaco, the contribu, the hombre grande. All these herbs are heavily laden with iron. Upon giving this to the patient, you would see that the condition would be changing immediately. One patient was reversed in 17 days. Alex Suarez in Honduras.
And was the AIDS at a level of almost dying?
What they call HIV positive, he was at Kaposi sarcoma. So you know you're on your way out. You see, again, when I make the statement that I cure AIDS, it is impossible, virtually impossible, to believe that the statement is correct and true. Two reasons. First reason, the physician claims that there is no cure for AIDS.
Yes.
But why should we take the word of the physician? What disease have you cured in 500 years using inorganic and carcinogenic chemicals? He has not cured anyone. So when he tells us that there is no cure for AIDS, well, what's new?
So you cured AIDS by cleaning the body first and
by cleansing the cause of AIDS, which is the mucous membrane. The second reason why it is difficult for my brothers, especially my brothers and sisters, to understand and to believe it, is because if a white man doesn't do it, how could you? And if you're doing it, how come they're not promoting you?
Yes.
But I ask you the question, my black race, why should the white man promote me or us? Who should be the promoting, them or us? And because we have been so compromised, we begin to see that the prejudices that we have against each other ain't working. I'm not doing anything but allowing myself to be the servant I always want to be. I didn't want to be anything but that. And now I'm leaving that. I want to be a good servant. I want to do something good. And I did that. I cure AIDS, I cure diabetes, I cure sickle cell, I cure lupus, herpes, blindness. Now that is like gone. That was the easiest thing to do, curing AIDS and the rest of those diseases. Now I have embarked on organic, electric agriculture. And what is that? Well, what I'm going to do, if you plant a tomato plant or an okra plant or cucumber or broccoli, these plants are artificial plants. They cannot send their root into the soil and extract from the soil the minerals because they're hybrid. They are non-electrical. They only could use the sun rays and the wind, water. They cannot convert the minerals from the soil into a food. That could only be done by a natural plant that is non-starch. That process is called, the conversion is called iontrophoresis, according to Edward Schultz. Iontrophoresis is the process in which you convert from a solid to a liquid. That could only be done by a natural plant. Is the process in which you convert from a solid to a liquid. That could only be done by a natural plant. But since an okra is artificial, so are tomatoes and cucumbers and broccoli, what I'm going to do, knowing that they have the ability to absorb water, to digest water, then I'm going to boil the natural plants, which are electrical, and feed them that and electrify that plant.
So what are natural plants? What are natural vegetables?
All natural vegetables are those that you find in the forest. I know some from Africa, the cancansa, the marula, the julia, the popa, the sia. In Honduras, I know the guaco, the contribo, the hombre grande, the sarsaparilla, and many more. So I know plants from all over the world because I travel. So what I'm going to do is boil them, remove the energy, which is electrical, and feed that to their natural plants because they do have the ability to suck up moisture, and there you electrify the plant. I've done it already.
Say electrical, how does that come in with our understanding? Are we electrical people? If I want to change, and many people out here want to change how they're living against nature and become in balance with nature, what would we do?
Electric food. You ask if we are electrical. If we were not electrical, if we weren't electrical, we would not be able to move. Just by the movement of our heart, the palpitation of the heart, which is 6,000 pounds per square inch pressure, is pushing against. What moves the heart? There could be no movement unless that movement is electrical. So the food should be electrical, which is nutrition. Food we all eat. You know what is food? McDonald's, some Cheerios, that's food. Some rice and beans, that's food. But nutrition is electrical, and there's a difference.
So what is a whole food? What would you say a food that includes all the minerals that we need in one?
Everything that is
Recommend
natural.
something.
Okay, right now, we eat quinoa as a grain, teff as a grain, amaranth as a grain, also the other one which is the spelt as a grain. These are grains. The African have a grain that is natural, and a very good one. The Dogons used to eat it. A Frenchman wrote about it. Fonio. Fonio is good. Fonio is natural, not starch.
What does fonio look like?
Fonio is a small little grain that looks like quinoa. We had some with the president of Guinea.
Is it white?
Is it white? The secretary to the president,
It's white, the grain?
It's white.
Okay.
And it's very good. So now, that's the grain, because we like grains, right? We like to feel full.
And then the vegetables.
And the vegetable now, you could eat any of the leafy green vegetables. They aren't going to nourish you. The only one going to nourish you that is green is lamb's quarters and dandelion. The Texas mustard and the colored greens and all that stuff doesn't have any nourishment because they were all made. Now, you could eat them. They would not offer as much injury to you as would do garlic or anything like potatoes, which is starch. In the meat part, you could select from the mushrooms. You could eat portobello mushrooms. You could also eat the oyster mushrooms. And you could eat the chow as meat.
But excuse me, don't they say mushrooms is a fungus?
Well, that's what they say. A fungus is something that eats away on you and on things. Mushroom does not eat away on anything. Mushrooms are the product of the mycelium network. They come to the earth and they are very alkaline. The lowest side of the pH scale is acid, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And the lower you go on the scale, the more acid the substance. Garlic is 3.3. Cow milk is 6. At least cow milk is not as bad as garlic. And everybody thinks that garlic is a cure for the body. Now, if you go above 7, 8, 9, 10 to 14, that's alkaline. Now we are talking about...
What things are we talking about when we say alkaline?
Alkaline means electric food. Anything that is alkaline is non-starch. It's electrical. What is occurring in Africa today is this. And I spent over 25 years in looking at Africa, visiting Africa, studying what the conditions are. And I see that the one thing that stands out, not only with the African, but primarily the African doesn't know the food of his fathers. It is said, and we have read and heard, honor thy mother and thy father, that thy days may be long upon the land. Well, when we listened to that, this Mexican told me, those words are true. But the elephant doesn't need to be told that, because he followed his mother and see what she eat. But an African, or the black race today, general, the black race in general, we don't know what our mothers and fathers ate in the forests of Africa. We don't even have the slightest clue. But what I did know, and what I know now, is that the African didn't eat rice, they didn't eat beans, they didn't eat any yams or cassava. These things were not consumed by the African. They didn't have hogs, they didn't have chickens, they didn't have goats, lambs, or cows. The food that we find the African eating today, not only it is deteriorating his body to a very accelerated rate, but his brain power is completely gone. So why? Because the food that the Africans are eating today, opposed to the food that he was eating hundreds of years ago, the difference is the food of 500 years prior were all alkaline. It was the food that God made. The African only ate what God made. But when the religions came to Africa, such as the Muslims and the Christians, they brought their goods. But their goods was blood and starch. So now the Africans, whether you are a Muslim or whether you are a Christian, you are eating blood and starch without even knowing the detrimental of consuming, or the detriment of consuming these things. There is such thing as food gene consistency. But the black man of America doesn't know these things, nor the black man of the world. So when I presented my argument that whatever we're being fed through the American Medical Association or any other association is directly in opposition to our cellular predisposition. The FDA cannot, under any circumstances, be the director or the controller of the diet of black people, because the FDA has no idea as to the food that is consistent with us. That was the question that brought the court to my attention. When the FDA made the statement that I should not sell my products, the judge asked me, what is your response? I said, well, the FDA is 100% right, providing they know the food that is consistent with our cellular predisposition. The judge said, what is that? I said, if I break it down, it means this. When you remove the black man from Africa, did you bring his food with him? They said, no. I said, thank you very much. Meaning that the white race is in direct violation of the genetic structure of the black race. Yet we believe that by reading 1 million books and having 1,000 degrees, that everything is okay. No, it's not. Because the one thing that we should have known and maintained was the substance that kept our family, our ancestors in Africa, as healthy as they was found. We are not that healthy today. We have lost the connection with Africa. We don't know how to get back home. And I'm not talking about on a ship. We're talking about psychologically. We're talking about knowing those substances, those things that they were eating, that we would be healthier, because today, Black America is sick. Black America is very sick. Dr.Sebi put together the new compound, such as the chelation 1. The chelation 1 is designed to enter the body and remove maximum amount of debris from the colon. The other one we put together is the electrocell. It's self-identity, self-explanatory. Electrocell, to electrify the body. Meaning that we have selected from the forest the plants that are highest in electrical impulses, put them together in a tablet form. So as you begin to cleanse with the chelation 1, you're being nourished with the electrocell. Simultaneously, we're going to give you another one, which is the E-card. The E-card is to remove fluid from the system. Fluids from the system, unwarranted fluids. At the same time, simultaneously, nourishing the muscles. So the other one, which makes up the package of intracellular cleansing and rebuilding, is the central nerve system. That is the first system that gives way once it enters the body. In strengthening these systems, we find that people with AIDS, diabetes, leukemia, sickle cell, in less than 48 hours begin to show you where their health has improved. And many who had AIDS, I have diagnostic sheet to show you, the world, that we have cured AIDS in 14 to 17 days. On the average, we cure AIDS 3 months, 90 days. We say that we are intelligent. We say that we are cosmic. We also go further and say, I am spiritual. But imagine this, you spiritual people, that the day that your mother and father decided to copulate and make love, the sperm of your father was already compromised with acid, and the ovum of your mother likewise. So here you find a child like Sebi, born from a compromised sperm, adulterated sperm, and he's going to tell the world that he's smart. How could I be, when the very structure of sperm that made me was compromised with blood and starch? But they were a part of me that was preserved. I didn't go to school. That was the better part of me. If I had gone to school, I would not have been able to afford myself as a servant on the level and in the perspective that I'm doing so today. Why? Because schools would have interfered with me. Because the schools promote protein, enzymes, and vitamin. Well, these things have been used over the years. I do not promote those things because I'm like outside the box. I'm living in a broader perspective where we find that the body does not need enzymes, protein, or vitamin. The body needs electric food. Being born from an adulterated sperm, I was born with asthma. At 27, I have diabetes. At 28, I was impotent. At 30, I wore glasses and I weighed 291 pounds. Here I am today now at 74, without any of those manifestations. Not that I'm as healthy as I could be or should be, because I started off eating garbage. I was eating everything that my mother gave me, which was garbage. None of it was complimenting me. But what this shows, that at the age of 30, I visited a Mexican in Cuernavaca, Morelos, which is Mexico. This man showed me that I was in direct violation of my ancestors. He took me away from all blood and starch, and he gave me these 3 bags. Each bag would last me a month.
What was in the bags?
A bunch of herbs, already grind up and mixed, but I never knew what the herbs were because that's a trademark.
Did you eat them, drink them?
No, I made 3 cups of tea every day. I would drink 3 cups of tea every day. And at the ending of 90 days, I didn't have any disease. But at the ending...
bathroom a lot when you had...
Yes, I would go into the bathroom 5 and 10 times a day. I had a great big stomach. I was passing fecal matter for days even after I didn't eat. 48 days after I didn't eat, I was still passing fecal matter. Then it was just mucus coming out. But what I noticed was this.
Where was the mucus coming out?
From the body.
Wow.
It's from the body, my bowels. When I remember, I logged it and I have it in the book, that when the first 14 days, the first 7 days I was dizzy. From the 7th to the 15th day, no, from the first day to the 7th day, I was calm and pretty. I felt good. But from the 7th to the 15th, I was dizzy every day. I was dizzy. I had to crawl to the bathroom on my all fours. I went to the bathroom for a whole week on my knees, on my hands. I couldn't stand up because everything was moving. But on the 16th day when I woke up, it was a peace that I didn't remember. A peace that I never remembered in my life. Then on the 27th, on the 20th day, I didn't hear the wheezing in my chest that I used to have with asthma. Then my diabetes, 140 and 200, no longer exists. And
how much do you weigh now?
I only weigh 158 pounds.
How much were you weighing?
291. So, by the ending of 27th day, on the 57th day, I woke up, and this is where an argument come into my brain. When I was a little boy, all the men in Honduras, from Trinidad, from Barbados, from the United States, they would have these conversations in the barbershop. And what they would always say, that if you want to please your wife sexually, eat a lot of eggs raw, and drink a lot of milk, and eat a lot of raw meat or meat for protein. Well, these things are the very things that interfere with your life. Now I didn't eat anything for 57 days, and when I woke up, after not having an erection for 2 years, I was impotent. Why am I not impotent when I woke up on the 57th day? Why my penis is erect? Because my body got the opportunity to drain itself of the buildup of calcification, cholesterol, triglycerides, and the rest. So now, the orifice, which is the penis, is spongy. It needs blood to flow to erect it. But now, those little orifices are clogged. But in 57 days, they were drained out. And I think I was very happy. I recognize that the black woman, I repeat, the black woman is from whom we all came that are black. So if I came out of a black woman, how could I be as smart as her? I don't understand how I could be. I believe that I'm few of the black men or males that understand that the black woman is of a greater equity to the union than I am, because she and she alone is what trains the cubs. You will never see a cub following a lion. Cubs follow the mama, because the daddy can't teach the cubs anything. It is the mama that teaches everything. But we have grown into this philosophical man that we have to compound the problem by putting our woman down.
So did it come about from slavery too?
That had to come from slavery. Because if I ask the religious people, they're going to say, God said that. But if God said that, maybe God was talking to some other folks instead of some black folks in the parts of Africa. Because in the parts of Africa, we were one. The resonance of a black woman ovum is of a higher vibration than that of a white man's sperm. The ovum of a black woman and the sperm of a black man is of the same vibratory rate. They come from the same genetic structure. Now, whenever a black woman ovulates, in the first days of its ovulation, that black sperm is going to find it and impregnate, and there is the result of a baby. But when the black woman is ovulating and she's married to a white man, the white man's sperm does not have the same vibration as that of a black woman's ovum. So what's going to happen here? The sperm is not going to be able to penetrate because the resonance is greater from here, pushing it back. So when does the white man's sperm impregnate a black woman ovum? When the ovum is on the second or third day dying, then it goes in. But the babies is the result of that. This is why you would find that the babies from a union of black and white is weak whether bone or eyes, but they will show signs of disease because it is not black with black and white with white. If a white man make a baby with a white woman, that is affinity. When a black man make baby with a black woman, that is also affinity. You see, gorillas doesn't have babies with polar bears, and buzzards doesn't have babies with pelicans. But human beings believe, but it's okay, another human being. Yeah, maybe so, but of different genetic structure.
So
that is forbidden in the laws of life. That never happened. Within the cosmic arrangement, animals doesn't crossbreed, only human beings, in the name of love. I think I'm the only black man on the planet that isn't spiritual. I think that's me, because everybody else is. But in the state of spirituality, they don't even know what they're supposed to eat. That undermines that position. That really is crazy. Now, the question is asked, what did we eat in the forests of Africa? Well, don't you ask any of the historians, the anthropologists, the archaeologists, the Egyptologists, the historians. They don't know. They simply just doesn't know. In fact, we are so ignorant as to who we are and where we came from. We call it Africa, we call it Ethiopia, we call it Abyssinia, we call it Al-Kabu land, we call it a whole bunch of stuff. But did it have a name? Did we give it a name? We didn't have any dictionaries to talk any language. You see, we believe that the African man had a dictionary and that we were wise. And we make the mistake in saying that we had wise men and scientists in Timbuktu. Do you know what you're saying? That you have violators, because scientists violate Mother Nature. That's all they're dedicated to do. We don't have any of that. We are not wise people. We're not brilliant people. We are cosmic people. Because an elephant isn't spiritual, isn't it? And he isn't intelligent. But he's cosmic because he eats the food that is designed for him. With us, we are everything but that. So what that does is to take us out of sync. And now we are not communicating. I am speaking a language that doesn't resonate with me. It came out of Europe, not Africa. The other thing, I put some roti in my mouth and some rice and beans. I put some goat. I put some lamb. And that stuff is European. So again, I'm offending myself. I have no idea as to who I am. The rest of the herbalists in the world were making a very drastic mistake. They read books. In the books, they talk about comfrey, aloe vera, they talk about garlic, they talk about peppermint. All these things are deadly poison. But the herbalist doesn't know that, because he read a book. See, when you read books, you're a zombie. You know nothing.
So is that the same as religion?
What you say?
Is that the same as religion?
The same as religion, because when we talk of religions, there isn't a religion in the world that asks you to eat the food that God made. every one of them undermine your health. Whether Christianity, Islam, Buddha, Shinto, or even the Bhagavad Gita from India, they all eat garbage. They eat starch and blood. So what is the benefit of me being religious? I am not religious.
One of the famous, most popular books, he says herbs is for the healing of the nation.
Herbs are for the healing of the nations. But when that book talks about herb are for the healing of the nation, you're referring to the Bible. But the Bible doesn't tell you what herb. You don't know. And we African people, we're no longer Africans. We're something other than African. We don't know what it is that we are. All we do, we just walk around reading books and talking about we black and Haile Selassie and it dies there. But we are not about constructing that which was destroyed. No, we're not about that. We are not about understanding that there is such thing as food gene consistency. And what do you mean by that? I mean everything. Gorillas doesn't eat polar bear food. We eat everybody's food but our own. And then we walk around the street being smart. And everybody knows that we're not, including the white man. The white man knows that as long as you eat his food, you will never get anywhere. Because gorillas was to eat polar bear food. It has been seen in Kenya. There was an experiment for 10 years in which they gave a gorilla, first they took the leaves and they put the blood on it, little by little, little by little, little by little, then little pieces of meat, grind meat. And at the ending of 10 years, the gorilla was fighting for a bone. Some that gorillas never do. And that's what we are doing. We are fighting with ourselves so much that our conversation is not about reconstructing ourselves. It's about the white man. It's about the white man. It's about the white man. And what the white man did. Well, if I was a white man and I had you in bondage and you talk about me all the time, I'd be drinking my martini because I know that's all you're going to do is talk. But I know you're not going to do something to rectify your condition. That I already know. They have the land. I have the Bible and the Quran.
Oh, that's what I always said. The white man have all the gold and we have the Bible.
Yeah.
So give him back the Bible and we take back the gold.
She be scared now. We live in fear. Me, the only person I feared was my mama. Because the biggest testicles I was to anyone was hanging on my mama. That's why it was easy for me to see, just like the Arabs, they should be Muslims. Just like the Europeans, they should be Christians. Just like the Chinese should be Buddhists and Tao. But I'm an African.
So what should we be?
What should we be?
Just an African?
Ourselves.
We're all Africans.
That's all we had. And that is all we need. Since the other religions came, Africa is divided and Africa is in a state of disarray. So, I hope that this information will be assimilated and utilized, because we're living in times in which we are experiencing a high degree of stress, in which we are responding to each other like we are other than a human being. So we are asking you to please, at least, give this perspective a chance, not for our sake, but because of your own sake. Your Bible teaches you that the herbs are for the healing of the nation. Your Quran teaches you that the trees are for healing. Well, we don't want to really go astray from that. Let us be obedient, at least for once in our life, to God Almighty. And I thank you very much. They said that we were created equal, and that's far from the truth. Because if you put me alongside a Norwegian and you tell me that you don't see a difference, I know you need glasses.